Take a picture of your husband working down there. Take a picture of him working. I give him a hard time. Well, I give him a hard time because. He always claims he works all the time.
No.
He took the picture and put the paintbrush up because he was up in the weeds. He lied better than lied. I might actually be. Do
Our window into our attic got shattered.
And you didn't know it was up shattered.
In the bathroom.
Probably hail in it or something.
Huh?
Probably hail or branch and. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
You have to your girls. Home.
Yes, they already have three of them. I don't know, I didn't answer.
That's what it was. That's all it's.
Next month.
Yeah, you deliver it into my store and. Bring it over. Oh, they brought them, for some reason they delivered them to me instead of here.
Did you find out, do we have more meters? You know, I'm still waiting for the meter for my mom. Did you find out, do we have more meters?
We just bought one. We just put down the bills and they're ordered. So we'll have more, yeah.
Oh, because I thought we ordered them before. We didn't order them.
Yeah,
before.
they ordered this.
Okay. You still have her on the list though.
Yes,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
I can still appoint, Steve can't make it tonight.
No,
We
you
can still.
they don't have to get here.
Okay, so he doesn't have to do it.
No,
Okay.
only to use my
Let's do
speech,
support them.
and I'm finding my own stuff.
Okay.
I left it in my other bag.
Let's see what it really, let's see what.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Really bogus, President Wagner,
Yes.
Painter,
Here.
Davis. Cummings.
Yes.
Rapp.
Yes.
Stevens. Okay.
The first item of business. I mean, is one couple of things. The first point to officially, we've had one of our planning and zoning completely resigned from the planning and zoning. And so I am going to be appointing Steve Peters for that term. And actually that term will run through 2025. So, and then the second appointment.
I need a motion or second to that.
I
Make a motion that we,
Just Steve,
appoint Steve.
A second.
Cummings. And. Wagner. Wagner,
Yes.
Painter,
Yes.
Cummings. Yes. Rapp.
Yes.
and in case you guys didn't know, that is Mike Peters' son. Longtime resident, so I think we'll.
His grandpa.
Yeah, and yes, his grandpa was the mayor here many years ago. So I think it will be great to have him be introduced to things on planning and zoning, and he seemed pretty excited about doing that. So anyway, the next appointment I have is to fill Jeff's position as trustee. I have, after going through several great candidates, actually, to look over, so we was fortunate that, you know, we had some variety of candidates look over, but anyway, I have decided to appoint Tammy Valley. She's lived in St. Joe for about 11 years, lived in Auckland before that, been very involved in the community, mostly with her girls that are now, or kids out of high school, but from band club, FFA, volleyball, all fun things that you do for your kids. But anyway, so she's very familiar with the community. And so anyway, I would like to appoint Tammy if this is her sitting there. If you want to stand up and say a little something more, then we will make that all official.
I'm Tammy. Like she said, my husband and I have lived here about 10 years. We have 3 girls who are sadly all out of the house now. I have worked in industrial real estate legal for 23 years. And between my girls and my job, that's pretty much all of it.
Anyway, so she will be, I said, filling Jeff's term, which is 2 years left on Jeff's term. For that, so
I'll make a motion.
Second. Painter,
Yes.
Cummings. Yes. Rapp,
Yes.
Wagner.
Yes.
Welcome aboard. Thank you.
and so now she will take her
Okay.
up. And Tiffany has that for you.
Oh, yeah.
I'll let Tiffany
You have to stand up here.
get rid of sweat.
Sorry. And before she goes through my glasses. Right here. I, Tammy Valley. I, Tammy Valley. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. Constitution of the State of Illinois. Constitution of the State of Illinois. And that I will faithfully discharge. And that I will faithfully discharge. The duties of the village trustee. The duties of the village trustee. Of the village of St. Joseph. Of the village of St. Joseph. According to the best of my ability. According to the best of my ability. Congratulations.
And we. Anyway, we're looking forward, I'm very much looking forward to serving with you. You know, everybody else here is Steve Clayton, you should do Jimmy, Jim, Max Peter. And Rubens, and that's our rep. So, all right, so. Anyway, so I expect all of you will be very helpful to her over the time. You can remember what it was to be a trustee, so anyway. They'll be gentle. She pleads. I know, when I first got on the board years and years ago, I was the only female, and there hadn't been females for a long, long time. And that was the thing, and I had one of the trustees who was kind of rough. He's like, well, you know, sometimes, you know, we kind of go at it here on the board and stuff, but we all make friends and we all go and have a beer later or something like that. And so they all agree, yeah, that's how you do it. So I just said, well, you know, maybe we should start a new policy, you know, besides beer, but maybe we should all have, like, after some of those rough meetings, have a group hug. And they all looked at me and right away, 2 of them said, I'm hugging her, not him. Anyways. But anyway, but we welcome them. So, all right, we'll start out with your minutes in your packets. I did catch one little thing, Tiffany, that I didn't catch it until I was rereading them later. There was on the sewer depreciation fund. You had it that it was like, renewed through, we renewed all of those. And it had UC, but it was actually volunteer. It was number 7000085 for the sewer depreciation.
Those were some long minutes.
That was the only,
Sewer depreciation was held at UC and it will be renewed no.
yeah, but it actually had been a long.
It will be-
Yeah,
Okay,
so,
sorry.
I didn't catch that at the last minute, so I didn't let you know. So.
Remind me, can you remind me afterwards to grab them off Deb's desk? Because I already put them on Deb's desk.
I make a motion that we approve the August 8th village board meeting minutes.
I'll second it.
Okay, as amended.
That's amended, yes.
But we have to vote on this separate?
Yes.
Painter,
Yes.
Cummings.
Yes.
Rapp,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Valley,
Yes.
Now you get it.
Okay, now everyone has a copy of the executive session minutes. If you want to take a minute to glance over those and then we'll have a motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion.
We're still waiting second.
Cummings,
Yes.
Rapp,
Yeah.
Wagner,
Yeah.
Valley,
And see, let me abstain.
Painter,
Yes.
401. So the one, the blue tab on top is the one that I signed for your records.
All right, put it in. Yep, thank you.
I don't know if you were in here. I'm sorry, I had to change the other one, remind me to grab that off Deb's desk.
Okay, we have our bills. Are there any questions on the bills?
Any questions on Bill?
No, I already discussed them.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second. Second.
Art,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Valley,
Yes.
Painter,
Yes.
Cummings.
Yes.
All right, 5-0.
Okay, I don't see any public comment here in the audience, so we will move past that, and actually I'm going to if you don't mind, I'm going to skip on down to new business. I haven't been formally introduced, but I'm guessing you're from Jacob and Klein.
My name is Nick Nelson. I'm an attorney at Jacob and Klein, so.
Okay, I am going to rearrange the agenda here and jump down to new business so that we can get here.
Thank you.
Unless you want to object and sit for the.
I have zero objection.
Okay. Doors on yours. Do you have a again?
Yeah, so this is Mr. Nelson from Jacob and Klein, who he's been speaking with Mark and I about the prospect of putting in a TIF district in the community. This was prompted after you all heard some initial conversations about this and you wanted to learn more and talk to somebody who could actually provide that service to us. So here he is.
Come on up, son.
The old man forgot his flag.
Oh, but you brought two characters.
Yeah, in case the first one doesn't work. No problem.
But yeah, other than that, it's really, this is more just a question about what services Mr. Nelson could provide for us. I've had some initial conversations with the two school superintendents, and they've been positive to this point. So I don't know if you have.
Do you guys want like a question and answer type thing, or more of what we do and or kind of a tip 101 of how it works, or
What services you could provide?
Okay, so our firm, so we're actually two companies in one. The law firm side that I'm with Jacob and Klein, and then there's the economic development group. They do all the consulting, but we really work together, share an office and resources. And so as far as the establishment of the TIF district, we would kind of study the area to make sure that it meets the definition of blight, which you need to have in order to have a valid TIF district, and kind of advise the village on how best to situate it and create the map that will work. And you really do want to have a kind of a broad area that covers to include many different types of development. And what a lot of communities do is they really want their downtown developed or redeveloped. But if you do a lot of rehab type projects, you can sink $10 million into a building. That's not going to create any new assessed valuation, and then you won't have any new income. So we like to bring in kind of the vacant parcels on the outskirts of town, and then where the new development would occur, and then you get the new revenue kind of funnel into the areas that you're really trying to build up. So we would assist the village in kind of coming up with a map that makes sense. We can be successful and accomplish your objectives, and then and help you get the entire thing established. And then on an ongoing basis after that, we can help you administer it. So part of that, there's an annual reporting requirement with the state. Once you get your village audits done, one component of that is audit of the TIF account. And so when we get that information, we use that to fill out the state of Illinois comptroller's report. And that's something that gets sent to the comptroller, uploaded on the state of Illinois website, and that's publicly available information. And then each year there's a meeting of the joint review board, the impacted taxing bodies, and we help administer that. And that's just simply going through kind of a progress report type thing of how the TIF is done over the previous fiscal year. Top of that, we would help negotiate any agreements, whether that's with a developer or a taxing body in the beginning, if you're trying to work out intergovernmental agreements. And we have a pretty good handle on the types of developer agreements that make sense for the type of project it is, and the type of intergovernmental agreement for the taxing bodies, depending on what it is that you're hoping to accomplish. So do that. On top of that, as part of our administration, we can keep track of every single parcel in the TIF district, and on a parcel by parcel basis, calculate what the increment is generated. And then if the parcel is subject to a redevelopment agreement, we keep track of all of the eligible expenses that the developers hand in to make sure they are eligible for reimbursement. And then we track the reimbursements that are made, and then keep a running total what the balance is owed, and advise the village on what the reimbursements each year should be. So we really can do everything that I help you guys out. So I don't know if you guys have questions more on what we do, but we can pretty much handle everything for you.
Well, I guess I would jump in and just say that my general impression from everyone here is that you are interested in starting this process, and bringing this firm on board to help us would be needed on that. So if you have any questions, he's an expert, consider answering, but otherwise what I'm really looking for is direction to tell Mark and I to work with him to get a proposal to be approved, to engage them, and then also direct myself and Mark to work with the other taxing bodies along with consultant to put a framework together of the deal. So I don't know if there's any questions or anything you'd like to know.
I got a general idea how TIF works. When you folks spoke about reimbursements, are you talking about something that's agreed to like a developer or something like that? Or are you talking about reimbursements to all the tax bodies and everything?
All of it.
Okay, so if you negotiated and you had a developer or something like that, and you agreed to put in a sidewalk or something like that, and they put it in, I mean, you have a fixed cost or what do we?
As far as just on the developer.
Yeah, I mean, is that contingent on engineering and everything, what the costs are to?
So typical developer agreements, first off, there's two things that kind of control what can be reimbursed. So legally, there's a definition of eligible project costs that can be reimbursed, this with TIF funds generally. And so that generally will include every development cost, with one big exception being new vertical construction costs of a private building. So we can't reimburse for that, but just about anything else connected to a development, we can. You know, anything, the land acquisition is a big one. Anything done to the site, excavating, site prep leveling, that kind of thing. Any in-ground utilities running from the mains to the building itself, that can be done. Soft costs for engineering, any public infrastructure works, their sidewalk, near example, or street curb stuff that's a public part of the project can be reimbursed. And then one indirect way you can reimburse for new vertical construction is you can reimburse the developer for 30% of their annual interest costs, and then limited to 30% of the total project costs. And so that's a kind of indirect way you can reimburse for new vertical construction. But yeah, and then as far as what those agreements look like, it runs the gamut. And we have a good handle on the type of development and what type of agreement would work well for it. Keeping in mind that the developer wants to retain as much as possible for public infrastructure. And then if there's taxing bodies that are getting reimbursements, keeping that in mind as well. So
How much is that predicated on prevailing wage on different things like that?
So prevailing wage is kind of a gray area, but right now, the Department of Labor's position is that prevailing wage does not apply to private TIF funded projects. It does apply to public projects. And then if a private developer has some public component to their projects, so say they're putting in a new, new grocery store, but they have to fix the street in front of it, the public street in front of it. The public street, they would need to pay prevailing wage on that part of the project, but not the private grocery store part.
I don't know, I have other questions come along, but that's one that come by right now. So,
And one thing I will say about how we bill is we bill on generally a flat rate per year. So contact us anytime with questions. It covers any negotiating of agreements, like anything we could possibly do for you, we will, and it won't cost you an extra penny. So we really want our city clients to communicate with us. If they have any questions, make sure that they're doing things right. So that's one thing I would definitely encourage.
is there various rates for that, or I mean, what do you have, just a flat rate, since you said you got it once a year? Because right now we're at a preliminary stage, so I can't.
Yeah, so there'll be two components to our fee agreement, that if you guys give the direction, we provide that to you, and that's and when you engage us, that would be set forth in that. But initially, there's going to be the fee to establish the TIF district, and then there is a sizable upfront cost to do that. And then going forward, there's a much smaller annual cost to administer it, and that's usually a scaled fee, but it kind of goes up as the increment goes up, and that is the eligible cost to be reimbursed with TIF funds. So
What if, and hypothetically, let's say this TIF district doesn't get off the ground, will we still be responsible for that big fee at the onset?
usually it's payable in 3 installments. The first, when you approve the agreement. The second, when we provide a copy of the proposed plan that you're going to vote on, and then the third is once it's voted on and approved. So
Okay. All right. Thank you.
sure.
Any other questions?
So did you get I guess, an informal poll and get direction from everybody, to make sure everybody's on board with doing it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm getting it. Yeah.
So I guess the next step is if you could provide us
One question I do have, what are you guys thinking in terms of like the initial boundary or the initial study areas? I know last time it was fairly large and included a lot of the residential. I know this probably ties into your conversation with the school districts, but are you thinking something that's similar to what it was the initial go around.
I think it'd probably be more productive if you and I and the superintendents could meet and go over that, because they did have some questions on the specific boundary.
Okay.
And then we could pass that off to our respective boards and try to have them out, but I envision it being relatively similar, but
Okay.
somewhat different.
And the upfront cost can be commensurate with the size of the area, just because there's, we have to study each parcel. And so the more parcels there are, the more work is involved in that. So, but if it's gonna be kind of what it was last time, we'll have a good handle on what that would cost.
Yeah, that's a good way to
Okay.
think about it.
Yeah, and I think with him working through the school district or the two superintendents, yeah, I think some of the concerns from the last time will be alleviated by working with them and getting that knocked out together, so. And it probably will be somewhat smaller.
But yeah, that sounds good. If you could provide this proposal, we'll plan on trying to get that knocked out next meeting and get going.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Do you have a business card?
Brought them this time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, you're good.
Okay, we were gonna jump back up to old business, and the first item on our list here is going back to our discussion on the solar, and we ended up not having any companies come in at this particular meeting. Joe, when he was trying to line up some people to do so, but it appeared it was going to be a little more difficult and a little more time consuming to make that happen. And so in discussions with Joe, I myself went back through and reread all the emails and the information, and I told Joe, I said, well, you know, let's give it another shot here, because I hate to waste more time, you know, and if we can avoid sitting through grueling sales pitches from sales companies. I mean, we paid the consultant to give us the information. You know, we've tried to do a lot of back and forth with the questions and stuff. And I know when I went back and reviewed the material again, and maybe through the discussions that we've had, it helped me to understand it a little better too, to pick it apart a little more. And so I felt a little bit better about some of the answers that I had been looking for. And then I also had emailed the guy myself with some additional questions that I had to clarify some of the information in my own mind, so I can have even a better understanding. So I guess what I'm hoping for is if we can have another discussion a little bit on the purchase, and just to simplify it, I know it's really not a lease. The PPA, the agreement for that it is procurement.
Power purchase agreement.
Power purchase agreement, which is a little bit different than a lease, but I guess I was hoping maybe we could, you know, maybe figure out the direction we want to go. And if we have to sit through, you know, because if we go the route of a purchase, we're going to have to get the RFPs, you know, for a proposal for each and every one of them. So that's going to involve a lot of additional time that Joe's going to have to spend on it. And then in the end, if it all comes down to where we're basically back to square one, then we've wasted several meetings and wasted a lot of time of Joe's and everything too. So I just kind of wanted to bring it back to the table with the current information. I know I went back through and made some notes to myself, and that's why I had Joe just put in, I wanted to keep it simple and just put the paperwork that was in your packets, just the ones that I thought was important to, you know, how the consultant came up with the numbers that he did. And I know Max had some questions that I know some of them, I'm not sure if he got them all answered or not answered, but I know I was able to get some of those answered. I know one thing that Max was concerned about is they thought the operations and maintenance numbers were a little bit high. And so I asked him about that to clarify that why did they seem high? And on the financing one, he pointed out that the reason why he projected high, and of course, nobody has a crystal ball, so you don't know for sure all of the operations and maintenance necessarily that will be involved, but he also included, he broke it out for the potential inverter replacement, because that's a pretty common thing, is to replace the inverter after 10 to 15 years. So that's why on the financing one, it's a little bit larger number there. It's broke out just like what we do for our equipment funds. You plan ahead. So if you don't spend it, at least the money is, hopefully you set it aside so that if you do have to spend it, the money is there. But that was one of my questions. And then on the tax incentives, he included that through the procurement agreement, and all of that is included. And I guess my bottom line, after looking at it more closely, my thoughts are, and he even said, because I think another concern that you had was mentioned that you thought the initial cost was a little high for the thing. And he just pointed out that the reason why a municipality would be higher is, for one, private industry, you're going to get by cheaper because you don't have to necessarily pay the union wages. There's just more work that a municipality has to go through. You have to go through and get your RFPs. You have to hire your engineering firms. You also have to pay the prevailing wage. So, and he projected it maybe a little bit higher, but with the cost of construction, everything that we're dealing with right now, he preferred to have it a little bit high than on the low side to give us a truer number on what that might be. Because as we all know, that so far nothing comes in under budget. So he said that's why it conceivably would look a little bit higher, just because it is different when you're dealing with a municipality, just because of the things that we have to deal with coming in on our side. And I said back to the mechanics of it, some of the things that he mentioned on the mechanics of the array. Yes, you're going to have the mowing and the weed control. That's going to be a cost, whether we hire it out or whether we have our own employees do it.
That you're already paying.
Well, it'll be different once you have your solar out there, though, because it's not like you can just go out and just mow it. Actually, it's a baseball diamond right now. So, but anyway, the inverter replacement, someone to monitor the system to make sure it's running properly. Make sure your Wi-Fi connections and everything are connected. There is an annual cleaning that they recommend, just like you would do your own air conditioning unit, so that you make sure it's running at being most efficient. Is something that they have found that's important, to make sure that you do an annual cleaning. And then also he recommended that part of that operation and maintenance would also to be at least annually have someone go do an animal inspection to make sure that you haven't had any little critters out there chewing on wires and things. So, but those were just because I wanted to break down. I said, well, what are some of the operation maintenance things that we have to maybe look at, just not being familiar with it. But my thoughts are, I guess the two big things that stand out in my mind, and if it was my own house, yeah, I probably would be fine. Yeah, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to save this money and everything. I just, as I've said before, I'm not a gambler, so I don't like to gamble with taxpayers' money as much as I possibly can. But when you look at the two side by side, with the projected cost as they are, and we paid the consultant to come up with these numbers, and I feel like he worked diligently to get the numbers as accurate as he could, without, like I said, without having a crystal ball to know everything 100%, because none of us will know. We don't know what 5, 10, 15 years will even look like. But so basing it on what they have now, the bottom line is at the 25-year mark, the difference, potential difference of savings is only roughly $161,000. And to me, that's not enough to go into this, and not only, with the financing of a project like this, because this will have to be financed through the sewer fund. This is a sewer project. This is only going to be, helping the sewer plant on the sewer bills there. So this would have to go through the sewer funding, and, I hate putting the sewer fund, we're already building a new sewer plant thank goodness I don't know if you saw the email where I said where we got the approval, along with the loan forgiveness, which will help us tremendously with the sewer plant project. But there's still a lot of expensive unknowns expenses going into that large project. But I hate to add additional debt to the sewer funds. And because I would most certainly not want to have to go back and raise rates after what we've already, we've based our rates on the projected project as it is. And so that concerns me. And normally we don't, we've had in the past years ago, we had to subsidize the sewer plant. But we've always had to replace those funds back into sewer fund because they're two separate funds. So I don't like putting the sewer funds at using up all of the debt service for a project like this, especially for only $161,000 worth of savings, is kind of what I'm looking at. So I appreciated the fact that we went ahead and paid for the neutral consultant to come in and give us his numbers, because that's my other concern is you have salesmen come in, they're going to be selling their product. And I don't know if they will actually be able to give us an apple to apple comparison, because if they don't deal with municipalities, they might not have those accurate numbers, and it might be different. But with hiring the neutral consultant, that was, to me, as close as we're going to get as far as getting some actual numbers without having a sales pitch. And then the other additional thing that concerns me is by adding the additional infrastructure. We, have a small staff. We have a lot of infrastructure now that I feel like, sometimes it takes all we can do to keep up on some of those projects and things. And it concerns me, not knowing for sure how much or little of operations and maintenance it would take to take care of this thing over the lifetime of having it. And so I'm just not for sure if it would concern me to add the additional infrastructure. So anyway, that's my thoughts. And so I want to open it up to you guys on what you guys' additional thoughts are. And then I guess I personally would be ready for you guys to, whatever the motion may be, is maybe to go ahead and move forward with the motion. At least let's get this thing moving. We're wasting time and we're not saving anything the longer we drag it out trying to decide what we're going to do. So, we need to decide what we're going to do so that we can get it in motion so we can actually start saving money at the sewer plant.
Well, what I don't see is, and maybe I'm just missing it, is where it shows the money we're getting back anywhere if we purchase it. Because it says here that we don't get tax money off, so we'll get a check, but I don't.
It's called direct pay ITC.
Yeah, it's,
For $527,000.
yeah, it's
And it's
figured in
factored.
here.
It's,
That's the direct pay.
The 527,000.
Yeah.
So you're getting half of it off of there.
Yes, that's included in his whole calculations that he's added. So this is what we'd have to finance. This is what our payments would be. upfront, we'll have to pay this, we're gonna have to borrow.
So you're saying, but you're still, you're,
This is the procurement, yeah, this is if we just do the leasing program.
So
This,
if
this,
we
these
buy it-
numbers here are just for the leasing.
okay,
So-
where's the ones for if we're buying?
For the financing one,
That's what I didn't see.
it's on this back page. So here's the finance, so this is what your payments would have to be for 15 years. You're gonna have to borrow all of it up front, and your first payment will be higher. But this you have to borrow up front because you won't have it until you get it reimbursed by the government. But you will get a direct pay for this. This is also, it appears that we qualify for this state incentive. So he's also included that. That would have to be approved though by the Illinois Power Association. It appears, he said their maps and things are pretty accurate. So he doesn't think it would be a problem. He thinks we would qualify for that. But you still have to get it approved through the Illinois Power Association. So, so they've already calculated that in with the financing. So bottom line, when you add up all the numbers and the incentives are included in here on getting that reimbursed and everything, if you go down to the bottom numbers of this and the procurement, that's where you come up with $161,000 difference.
I mean, my whole thing is. You've set this up in such a way that you want to lease it. I mean, you've all but said you want to lease it. I'm for buying it. But I don't think, I'm just gonna vote no when you guys vote to lease it, because I'm telling you, these numbers, I don't believe them. And maybe they're right, but I'm telling you that if you bought it, these numbers would not be the numbers, but I'm just telling you my opinion. So you guys are dead set on leasing it. I say you just make a motion to lease it. I'll vote no, and it's done, and we can start saving money.
So just a couple things as I went through this stuff before the meeting, made me think about something that came forward is that, you know, this is specifically for sewer plants. And so I thought that was, you know, I thought that was important. I don't know enough about it. I'm just telling you how I feel. I think that we already paid a consultant to come up with these numbers. We have already, as a board, committed to some like the equipment replacement initiative. We also tonight signed up to do TIF. We still have a park bond payment left to do. I'm just worried about, you know, I don't want to strap us for money.
Well, you're throwing away $160,000 from what I can tell, and that's on the low end. Because you said you split everything high, so you're throwing $160,000 away because you want to lease it versus buying it.
That's over 25 years though. If you break that out,
$160,000 is $160,000, no matter how you slice it and dice it.
it could be higher, it could be low. That's unfortunately the unknown risk that you take. Yes, it could be higher, it could be lower, but in the end, for that small amount, do we want to take that risk and overburden ourselves in the sewer fund with the debt service? You know, and that's right. So that's where you guys have to decide how big a risk you want to take for
Yeah,
that amount of money.
I'm for leasing, I'm not for buying it.
You can always buy it too at the end of the
Right.
the period as well, so it will pay for itself at that point too, like if you just set the proceeds aside. So you will, you know, whoever's doing this in the future will have that.
So when we lease it, we're getting that 500 and some odd dollars tacked onto this too, when we.
Yes,
So we're
Well,
still getting all the
it's-
incentives.
yeah.
We're still getting that 500,000 and we're
The-
gonna get
the-
the 400 and.
The company is absorbing the tax credits and the tax incentives. And instead of us having to deal with any of this, the financing aspect or the organizing, the maintenance aspect or anything like that, they're just issuing us a payment.
So they're gonna mow out there. They're gonna mow it and they're gonna clean it once a
They'll do,
year.
yes, they'll do the cleaning, but we'll also have to do the mowing and stuff like that, but we'll.
We still gotta do the mowing?
I-
They'll do the mowing.
I'd have to verify that, but I think that, I don't know, I have to verify that.
No,
Yeah.
we'll still have to do the mowing. They're not gonna come mow it for us.
Yeah, I think it's
And they're
gonna,
not gonna clean them once a year, I don't think either. I mean, that's a matter of, it's like cleaning your windows. It's not a special, it's soap and water.
well, they will do that general, I know they will do that general maintenance on them for the.
And as far as rodents eating through there and stuff like that, whoever puts them in, you'll get it's an electronic program that you have on your stuff that tells you if you have an inverter go bad or something like that. They said go out and check and make sure rodents haven't eaten through wires, and that's all monitored, that if you have one go bad, they come out and they replace it.
One of the notes in one of the many emails here says, in a power purchase agreement where the village has no cost of ownership, there is no requirement for the RFP. Which that's another big thing, is if we are in charge of contracting or, getting a contractor to come in and do it, we're gonna be responsible. Of course, that'll be something we'd have to hire out probably
Well,
because.
whoever does you act like there's different people. If you hire a solar company, you hire a solar company, they're gonna do it all. It's not like you're gonna hire.
If we hire a solar company, we still have to make sure, we have to go out for, the RFP, the
Request for
request for
proposal.
proposal, so we have to put all that together. I mean, we're a municipality, we're required to do these things.
It's true.
And so the developer and contractor then, if for the, under the leasing agreement, the developer and contractor, they do all of that, they take care of the insurance. Because that's the other thing, is we will have to have insurance if we own it, to where the company who we're leasing it from takes care of all the insurance. And that, like I said, and that becomes more of a efficient way for them to be able to build it that way too, than the village have to go through that, because I said, then you have union costs and you have engineering costs that we have to include within the cost of the solar. So that's why it's more costly for us to do it on our own, because we have to factor in those costs. Unfortunately, because we're a municipality, we don't have a choice there.
I would be real curious to know if we gotta go ahead and do the mowing. The ones I've seen, that's gonna end up, we're gonna have to buy some different equipment. Because most of those, to get under it, you're gonna have some kind of a side boom or a side winder mower or something to get under it. And it's gonna be a little more involved. With them doing all the maintenance, that's a whole different ballgame. So you talk about even a 50-horse tractor, the more you're looking at 50 grand or something like that right there.
Well, I asked specifically, I think the mowing is negotiable, because he mentioned, he answered my questions here in red. Let me find out.
But if I could just add,
Yeah.
let's say that you. Just hypothetically, if the maintenance cost, if the operations and maintenance cost is a sticking point. If you add $300,000 over 25 years to the $160,000. Let's just say he's 100% wrong on the operations and maintenance. That's all you're gonna be adding is the $300,000 over 25 years. And the question is, it always comes back to the philosophy choice that I've been asking you all to vote on. Do you want to have the opportunity cost of taking out debt for this, or would you rather have the flexibility and have that debt service available for another opportunity that could come up within this 8-year period to pay off the loan? So that is you get into the weeds literally here on the mowing isn't the problem. The problem is the opportunity cost. You want the opportunity cost or not? And that's really what I've been asking you to decide, is that part. That's the first part that's needed to be.
So I'm gonna make a motion to lease it. That's my motion. Reading the dead horse. Terry second.
Until Skinny came, I could tell that. I guess he's the one who touched champ. I'm Terry, but now he's been in trouble.
What was, I didn't handle that.
I didn't even.
I said it was easy to tell when you seconded things until Tammy got on the board. I can always catch
Oh,
you.
right.
I think I need to borrow your hearing aid.
No, I got new ones and I'm not giving them up for any of them. Okay, we're on. Wagner,
Yes.
Valley, Painter,
No,
Cummings,
Yes,
Rapp,
I guess yes.
votes 3-0, or 3-1-1.
Did you get Tammy?
She won one. You understand?
Just,
Oh, you did abstain.
So it's 3-1.
I told her she could do whatever she
there's
wants.
too many months, so.
So, okay, I. Without continuing on, I did find my notes on the maintenance. Do you mind if I read what he responded to me?
you can do whatever you want to do, you're the mayor.
Hey, don't say that with. He just, because I asked him the question about what, maintenance, because I had heard from someone that the U of I wanted to kind of like mold off the back, that was one of the part of their maintenance, but I didn't have any clarification for that, but. He just mentioned, he said, without exception, even though the contract states that the investor is responsible for the mowing for the PPA. He said, to his knowledge, a lot of municipalities will elect to do the mowing themselves, something to do with insurance issues, liability for the mowing route or something, but so that'll be something we most definitely would have to follow up on, but he said, I think this is or he says Roundup around the bases is most common with mowing everywhere else. I have also seen landscaping fabric and rock in the hard to reach areas. The panels get too hot to worry about mold. You can clear the snow if you choose with a pool brush. I would recommend this. When there's fresh snow on the ground, you can normally the sun will bounce off the snow. So it anyway, it's kind of like just going to brushing it off just so it's most efficient, but on regular maintenance, and this is something that they've learned through experience, they recommend all projects get the annual cleaning and inspection. And for years, we thought these inverters would just sit there and run, but now I think of them more like outside air conditioning units. If you don't clean them, they will not be as efficient and will shorten the lifespan. This is not, you know, a huge expense, and it sounds like the rain also helps with some of the cleaning. So that was just his response and my question on
What makes me cause a pause? Are they doing the maintenance? No, they're talking about different things. I mean, I took it, they were,
No, this was the consultant's answer. I was asking what kind of maintenance. needed
well,
to
we
be done.
have to, but the other,
Yes,
Okay.
because I wanted to know if we purchased it, what were
Okay.
some of the things of maintenance?
then
was
the
involved?
leasee or the lease
Yes.
from, he's gonna be responsible.
Yes.
Okay.
But it sounded like the mowing might be something that's negotiable. It sounds like the investors are responsible for it. But some municipalities will go ahead and do it because they choose to. So. But that was the consultant's answer when I asked that question. Anyway, so. Are you good with that? Okay, so the second item is just basically, you know, we've already talked about it and you guys have already decided, but we now have to do the amending of the T2 license for the special events for the calendar year. And also adding the deadline of 5 days for all applications. So we need a formal vote on that so that we can get that taken care of.
And I'll send a letter out if you choose to approve this tonight to all of our licensees, explaining the change and just the expectations for them going forward on submitting their stuff for all the different permits.
make a motion, we approve the ordinance to amend the liquor code.
I'll second it.
June. Valley, Yes. Painter,
Yes.
Cummings.
Yes.
Rath,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
5-0.
The next item on an old business is, we had Mr. Arnett at our meeting last meeting about the economic development retail recruitment proposal. We have, that's exhibit 6 in your packet, discussing the terms of that. Kind of went over that at the last meeting, talking about what would be included in his proposal. Is there any questions on his proposal?
Is this, I mean, is this the normal, normal, I have no idea if that's reasonable.
If we were to hire, as an example, of consulting firms, this one when we were in Warrensburg, and as a community population of 23,000. They hired a retail coach, and all retail coach did was put together meetings at these trade shows.
Mhm.
That's it. They would be a contact with Target or a contact with whoever.
Mhm.
They're not gonna do any of the other services that Jim's included here, and they were over double.
Okay,
So,
well, I just noticed that this is it plus expenses, so
sure.
if you set up, and I just don't know if you're marketing your community, you set up a stand or rent space.
Yeah,
That's a
all
significant
of
cost.
that, and we'll be creating marketing materials, and you'll be also calling on our behalf in different places and going and I'm doing some footwork for us. So, and now I'll be very involved with him because there's a lot of upfront to get a lot of these materials put together. And it's good because I want to learn also about it. But anyway, it'll be, and then the first conference is in Chicago in October, so we have a short turnaround here.
Mhm.
But we have time to get it going, so.
Okay,
Is there any other questions?
I make a motion that we approve this retail recruitment proposal.
I'll second it.
Do we put the cost in or anything?
Yeah, in minutes, yeah,
The 2,500 a month, or is it?
yeah. I think we got to see.
Not.
What if I be a discount?
By the way, he also was the city administrator at Effingham, which had a lot of success with TIF districts in a lot of the retail recruitment, so we were having questions since TIF was on the conversations, and I also, he's had a lot of experience working with them as well, so we're getting a lot of years of experience on board too.
Painter,
Yes.
Cummings,
Yes.
Rath,
Yeah,
Wagner,
Yes.
Bauer. Yes.
Okay,
5-0, sorry.
so we're ready to do business, so we're down to Joe has in your packets the staff report. Is there anything in addition you want to add to that, Joe?
No.
I do have a question. What surplus equipment are we be selling?
The ones that you listed, which is, I haven't got them listed yet, and we're gonna do them at the same time and list them on municipal bid. So you passed the resolution authorizing the disposal of them, so we're just gonna put them on there at the same time.
All right,
Village attorney, do you have anything to add tonight?
My extensive report is on your agenda. I'm happy to answer any questions.
If there's no questions, we'll move on. Tiffany,
No.
Public Works.
Yes, I have something. Public Works has been working vigilantly getting through all their tasks. We've been overwhelmed due to the sewer plant, new operator. That's taking 1 to 3 employees out of the whole Public Works clan. And then you guys went through a agency. We got another employee, which is doing great. He's doing phenomenal. We're just way backlogged on trying to get things done. Everybody's been working nonstop, and I made sure. So we're just having a hard time catching up with everything, all the demands, all the requests, but we will get there.
Hey, Luke. All right.
Yes, I have something.
Hey, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for the card and food tray. Appreciate it.
So, and you were back officially this week, right?
Yes, Monday, yes. Yep. Yes,
Well, we're glad to have you back. Glad you're
Thank-
feeling better.
thank you.
So the only thing I have under the mayor's desk is I do want to thank the festival committee and all those who participated. The community, showed up in large numbers, which was great to see, and all the committee, they did a great job. So I applaud them for putting together another great festival. And every aspect of it I thought was very well attended, and you guys did a great job. Mike, I'm very sorry that you missed out on most of the festival. We're sorry, we're glad that you're back doing well. But I do want to point out, it was a very nice article in the newspaper, front page. So that was a well-deserved recognition for you. So I'm glad. Unfortunately, that was the same day I think you became ill. So it's like, oh, darn it. But anyway,
Thank you.
I appreciate that. It was a very nice article. So anyway, but thank you very much to the committee, Nora, Jim, Mike, everybody who was involved with that. It was a great event. So anyway, so that's all I have. Board of Trustees, do you guys have anything to add tonight?
I do. Out there at the pickleball court, can we take over the next section of the basketball court for 2 more courts and put lines on there? And is there a way, or is there any more fencing to be had?
Can I direct you to Joe and Luke, because I know he's been having some conversations with Jeremy on a couple of things too. So if you guys can kind of team up and work on some of that, and then that way you know what Jeremy's kind of been asking for, different things too. So
If you Jeremy talked about.
Well, I mean, we just were out there Saturday and we had 16 people. And we have 3 courts, and I mean, it's just nuts, and that's just the ongoing thing. There's 12 to 16 people out there all the time, whenever we play, so.
Okay.
yeah,
And,
and it sounds like that was a very successful tournament from, I know from what you said, and then I know Jeremy had sent us a email that it sounded like it was very successful, and it sounds like it's still growing.
oh, yeah, it's,
So-
I mean, all these neighboring towns are starting to take off. We went over to Homer's. They actually have a very nice setup over there that they had a concrete pad, and their city is putting money into, they actually petitioned, and they're putting money into their stuff to resurface it and paint it and everything else. But anyway, so we were just kind of hoping to get a couple more courts and make them, I mean, we tape them off. It'd just be nice to paint them on there. I mean, whenever we're out there, there's never anybody playing basketball out there. I don't know if people do when we're not around, but it'd just be nice to take over a little bit more. And I don't know if Jeremy said anything about, has anybody looked into what it would take to resurface that particular, I don't know how they even do it. Do they just do it like a road? Do they shave it off? And then,
Which one? Basketball?
yeah, if we were to
we looked at it, I just have to get the, I just can't, I looked at our notes and see what we got. For
But
it.
yeah, I'll let you and Joe work
Okay.
on some of those details and maybe come up with something on that, so. And then also share with what Jeremy has shared with them already too, so. If there's nothing more from the trustees, it looks like we do have an item go executive session again this evening, so. Someone want to read that motion?
Sure. My motion, we go into executive session for the limited purpose of discussing the lease of real property for the use of by the village to 5 ILCS 120/2
It's close.
Five, sorry.
and for the purchase, not the lease.
There you go. That's what we heard, thought we heard you say.
Yeah, thank you.